let's go inside to cover the wave warp effects for the coffee. So let me zoom in here. We'll need a space that's inside the cup. So let's go to my pen tool, and then we're gonna just basically draw a shape following this shape of the cup here, and then we'll leave some space at the bottom as the bottom of the cup. I'm using pen tool just to roughly draw a shape here, and then I'll leave some space in the top. That should be okay. And then that could be my inside of the cup. I'll call this one cup inside. That's good. I need something that can wave it. So I'll go to my rectangle tool. I'll draw another shape here. Basically, I want to fill this cup maybe around this half of the cup. So I'll draw like a rectangle here that's bigger than this cup. And then I'll color it into this dark brown color as a coffee. So this is going to be the area where I will use it as a coffee. And then let's go to effects and presets, get wave warp. Double click with the layer selected, double click on the wave warp. And this is how we do a wave effects. Basically, we have different wave type. We have sine wave. I think sine wave would be the most common one that you use. But if you toggle these different options, you have different shapes here for the wave. These are not really organic. Mostly will just stay within the sine wave. Sometimes you might need noise wave when you are animating some noises. And if we're doing the sine wave, and then if we change the height, we can change the height of the wave here. And then if we change the width, if we make it really big here like this, so the wave is going to become bigger and bigger in terms of the width. So let me just try to give it around a 50, and then let me change the direction. So if I modify the direction here like this, it'll basically move this wave to a diagonal direction, so the wave is more angled, and then we'll have kind of this kind of effects when we're playing like this. And then let me change the height down a little bit, maybe like a 10 or a 15. I think the 15 might work. So now we have this wave that's going on, and then we can animate the position of this liquid coming up as if it's filling up the cup. Right now for the wave effects, we don't need any keyframe in order to have the wave animating, because it's always moving, it's always animating. We can change the speed here. Right now the speed is 1, so I think that looks pretty cool. If I play it, we have a wave animation like this. So let me go to the point where my liquid is coming down around here. At this point here, I want this shape to move up. So hit P on the position. I'll just first move, sorry, not the copy inside. This is going to be the coffee fill. So we'll have the coffee, hit P on the keyboard, the position, and then we'll have it down there. And then maybe once the liquid is kind of finishing around here, I'll have this one move up to maybe half of the cup. And for now, I need to use alpha matte to mask out this area here. So I'll use a copy inside as the alpha matte for the coffee fill. Let me go to the track matte here, choose the cup inside, which is layer 2 over here. So now we should have a liquid coming up like this. And I need to move my just pouring liquid here, this line on top of my cup, so I can see the line. This is my coffee pour. And then for this one, I'll just move it on top of the cup so I can see that. So once this one is reaching the bottom there, I want my liquid to come up like this. Move it slightly backward to time it better. So like this, I need to move it back a little bit so that it's already filled up when the pouring is stopping. So like this, I think the speed is not fast enough. I want the speed to be faster. Let's try a speed in 2. I think that might look better. like this. And then that's good. And then for the coffee pour, I also want to add the wave warp effect so that it's not a straight line, it's more just kind of wavy. So let's go to this coffee pour and then add in the wave warp. And then for this one to be a wave warp, let's say this one, the pouring down here, I actually need to change the direction. So let's see if I change the direction here to more of a vertical direction. So you can see I can actually make this one more wavy. But since it's a very short distance, I don't want it to be this wavy. It doesn't really make sense for the liquid to come down like this. So I just need a really slight wave here. Just make it really gentle, subtle. Maybe something around, I think even like 81 degree. I'm not changing any other settings. I basically just doing the direction so that this thing can just have a little bit of wave while it's still going straight down. So if you want to add more, you can change the direction more or even change the width of the wave, or not the height. I think the wave might do. But for now, let's just do like this. I think that's it's gonna make it better. And then once you zoom out, we just need to make the bottom and top edge cleaner. So let me just go here. So now you see it's actually outside of my cup. So I need to, let's see my matte. Where's my layer 5 matte here? So I need to mask out this bottom part again. Let me go to see where my number 5 layer matte is. So I have a matte over here on the top. So I need to make another shape here at the bottom to make sure it's not going over my cup. In this case, I want to draw inside my matte. This is the matte that I already applied on the coffee pour. So I just need to essentially go to my rectangle tool and then draw another shape here inside to cover this part here. So now it's taking this matte with 2 shapes inside the layer. And now it's not going to go over. However, there's still some gap. So I need to extend it further so that it doesn't have that gap there. Let me go inside my keyframe, go to this point here, and then I'll drag this one down further so it doesn't really have that gap over there once animating. And once we zoom out, I think it's okay. We're going to add some motion blur to refine those edges later on, but I think it's looking good for now. And then another thing is I want to create a dimension inside my coffee fill. So this is a fill here. I want to create a different layer, Command D, and then let's change it to a different brown color. Just go to maybe the saturation, give it like a slight different tone, and then go try to offset it a little bit more. Let me create a different color so that it's easier to see here. So this is right now creating a completely overlapping. So I need to maybe change the height a little bit more. Let's do a 5, and then let's move underneath this one here. And then the width can be smaller as well. Just want to change the setting to create an offset. So we have 2 waves going on, almost like one is closer and one is actually further away. And then let me drop my pour just in between these 2 so that the other one is actually in the back, so that we can create almost like a faux 3D thing. Just give a different dimension to the coffee pouring down, and we can add some fun to this pouring animation. So I think that looks cool, should be okay. I think maybe this pouring down the fill sine wave, it's too much. I actually like it better if I just don't have the wave, just more of a straight line, so that is fitting this graphic style better. But yeah, you can see like what's your preference. The point is we can use a wave warp on this pouring animation and to make it more organic. But I think I like the straight line better than the other one, because the last 2 drip of my coffee pour are also more or less straight. So I'll just keep it straight for now, and then have this coffee pour coming down like this. And then I need to turn on this coffee fill too, so that we have a dimension over here. So that's the wave warp effects. After everything settles down, I want this coffee cup to come up and then exiting the scene. And let me save the project. For the scene setup, I actually want to, let's change the composition setting to a larger comp, because I will need it when I start to do the stylization. I want to give it more space here on the left and right. Let's see if I change it to 1920 by 1080, click on OK. And then let me just go to my backgrounds, hit S on the keyboard. I'll just uncheck the scale property, and then I'll just make the background bigger. So that's gonna be my backgrounds. After we change the background, we still need to adjust this animation at the beginning here so that it's not inside my frame when it's coming up. So this is gonna be sliding in, and then this is sliding in, that's good. And then that's sliding in the cup. I want the cup also to be outside. So I need to go to my cup layer, make sure the first frame, the X position is actually outside. And now we have this pouring down animation. The coffee is brewing, pouring down. We have this wave. Now that's good. And after we have this cup filled, let me just go animate this cup going outside of exiting the scene here. So we're going to do basically add a keyframe on all these positions that's already animated to make sure it's not moving. So we're going to add a keyframe over here on all the properties. And then let's go forward. First of all, I want it to come up. So let's go forward maybe 10 frames. So let's do 10 and then use the Y position. And now you see I just need to parent my coffee fill to the cup so it's moving with it. So before we do that, let me just go to my fill. I need to, and also this cup inside. I'll just basically go select all 3 layers, go to the parenting link, and then parent to the cup. So all 3 layers are going with the cup. And now if I go for 10 frames, if I move in Y position, it should already move up. That's good. But I need to cut my coffee pour here because although it's already stopped pouring, we still have those graphics left in the background before it was covered. So I need to cut the layer here, make sure it's not showing up. And then for the drip, let me also cut the drip here. So go select the 3 layer. Let me delete this one here. So let me cut this one layer, cut this layer so that everything is cut off. I'm gonna have 1 drip here, and then the drip layer is cut off so that it's not showing behind the cup. Now we have this cup, we want it to move up, and then for the X position, let me make a keyframe here, and then let's go for maybe 15 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try 15, or 20 might work as well, but let's try 15. So I just want this cup to exit the scene here. Let me go over here. It's gonna exit the scene, but before it exits the scene, I want the rotation to rotate back a little bit, and then when it's exiting, I want it to rotate forward. So it's gonna go back a tiny bit, almost like an anticipation, like this, and then it's gonna go, when it's moving out, it's gonna go forward, leaning forward like this, slightly leaning forward. So we have this cup coming in with an angle and then leaning forward. So let's go inside the graph editor to adjust the graph a little bit. Let me go inside my value graph. So it's this part, the last part that we're adjusting. At the first 2 keyframes, the X position is not moving much. So if I want, I can still add maybe 2 frame anticipation before it moves away. So let me just add 2 frame anticipation here. That's too much. I need to zoom in really close because this movement right now, the distance is very short. So let me just move it slightly up. I need to zoom in really close. I'm using Z on the keyboard to keep zooming in, and then have this cup coming slightly to the right, have an anticipation, and then drag these 2 handles out a bit more to form an S curve here. We have anticipation there, and then let's go fit the graph to view. I'm gonna just drag this thing here. Have an S curve when it's exiting. That's good, and then now I just need to adjust my rotation, still in the value graph, fit the graph to view. Give it some energy, form an S curve here. So now I just need to adjust my Y position. So for the Y position, I just need to give it some easing when it's coming up. This one doesn't have, because it's really gentle movements. I just want it to have a bit more easing. Let's try a bit more easing here. You can still add anticipation overshoot, but I think the movement is too small. It doesn't do much. So I think that's already good.